do this already? Pandemic is a card-based cooperative and hand management game released in 2008 and designed by Matt Leacock with art by Josh Capel, Christian Hanisch, Regis Mulloon, Chris Quilliams, and Tom Thiel. The goal is to develop a cure for each of the 4 different diseases that are ravaging the globe before time runs out. Players work together, sharing information and trading cards, and they win or lose together. To set up, place the main board in the middle of the table. Shuffle the roll cards, dealing 1 to each player, and then place the matching colored pawns at Atlanta, along with a single research station. Place the outbreak marker on the 0 space of the outbreaks track, and the infection rate marker on the leftmost space of that track. Shuffle the infection cards, and place the deck on the marked space on the board. Perform the initial infection step by discarding the top 3 cards from the infection deck one at a time, and placing 3 cubes of the corresponding disease color in the city shown. Perform this action again for the next 3 cards, placing 2 cubes each this time. Then one last time for the next 3 cards, adding only 1 cube each to the board. At the end of this, there should be 9 infection cards in the discard, and 18 disease cubes on the board across those 9 cities. Shuffle the player cards and deal out between 2 and 4 cards to each player, depending on player count. Then separate the remaining player cards in 4 roughly even piles and shuffle 1 epidemic card into each pile. Finally, stacking these piles up into a single deck and placing it on the marked space. Place all remaining disease cubes and research stations in reach of all players. The player with the highest population among their city cards goes first. In Pandemic, the players are a team of scientists, medics, emergency services personnel, and other disaster movie archetypes working together to prevent the annihilation of humanity at the figurative hands of 4 different diseases striking across the globe. The game is played over a variable number of turns, during which the active player will perform up to 4 actions, draw 2 player cards, and then infect cities. The actions that can be performed are moving to another city, building a research station, treating a disease, trading cards with players, and discovering a cure for one of the 4 diseases. The last one is the main focus of the game and can only be performed by discarding 5 cards of the same color from a single player's hand while at a location that has a research station. While drawing player cards, if an epidemic card is drawn, it is resolved by completing the following steps in order. Increase the infection rate by 1, draw and discard the bottom card of the infection deck, adding 3 cubes to that city, and shuffle the infection discard, putting it back on top of the infection deck. This increases the chance of triggering an outbreak, which happens when a city has 3 cubes of a specific color in it, and a 4th cube must be added. If the outbreak counter reaches the end of its track, or the cubes of 1 or more colors runs out, or the player deck reaches the end, then time is run out and players lose as a group to the rampaging diseases. If, however, they manage to cure all 4 diseases before then, they will win as a group, confident that humankind has at least another 6 or 7 years before being wiped out by giant chickens or whatever. For some reason, not sure why, when the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020, I decided board games are my thing now. They are now my thing. The question then became, how do we share them with others when we were facing quarantines, limited physical contact, and various adventures into making bread, beer, wine, what have you? Through the magic of the internet was the answer. I set up a laptop, pointed a webcam at my dining room table, and signed up for a Zoom account. Now, what was the first game we played remotely? I think you can guess. And given that Pandemic is 100% cooperative, it was pretty easy to pull off. Trying to make Betrayal at House on the Hill work was, while still successful, a bit harder to wrangle when I was the one moving all the bits. Eventually, we evolved to Tabletop Simulator on Steam and never looked back. I will always view that time of tripods, terrible lighting, and stumbling through new software tools quite fondly, and it seems I have regressed a bit in my content creation. Still, should a day come that we find ourselves in similar dire straits to those we faced a few years ago, I know just what I will say. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the cooperation of gamers fails, when we forsake our teammates and break all bonds of turn order, but it is not this day. An hour of bad draws and broken dice when the age of cardboard comes crashing down, but it is not this day. This day we play. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you sit. I'm always game.
Just like the Pied Piper, led rats through the streets.
I'm going to make this water disappear. Be amazed.